You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Now on the Mo Kelly Show, it's Tiffany Hobbs, the viral load.
She'll speak of all the viral things social media can bring.
Facebook, Insta, X, TikTok, the viral load with Tiffany Hobbs. Viral load, the viral load. Viral load with Tiffany Hobbs.
KFI AM 640, it's time for Tiffany Hobbs and the viral load.
Okay, so I'm not a big coffee drinker. Some of you maybe. I enjoy other things. But for those people who are really, really into their coffee, I have some good news for you. For those of us who might feel a little frustrated by coffee drinkers, then this will be the bane of our existence. And here's why. There's a new trend in the coffee world that's going viral. It's all over TikTok. And now, of course, it's made its way to other social media platforms. And what is it? It is a gigantic bucket of coffee. Let me explain. Back in 2000 and just a few months ago, in May actually, there was a TikTok creator who goes by the name of Cowgirl Barista. She owns a coffee bar called, appropriately, the Cowgirl Barista Coffee Shop. And she decided to market and see just how successful a literal bucket of coffee might become. So she went to like Home Depot or Lowe's, and she kind of got those little mini buckets, actual literal buckets that are about 34 ounces. She filled it with iced coffee, put it up for sale at her coffee bar for about $10, of course, with add-ons, a little bit more. And she decided to see just how well they would sell. Well, they sold, and they sold in droves, and people came from all over to buy this literal bucket of coffee that is comprised of 6 shots of espresso topped with ice and milk. And of course, people
Just
are
for
adding,
one person?
For one person. People are adding and subtracting as they wish.
6 shots for one person?
6 shots of espresso, ice, milk, and other things. And because things were going so well, the Cowgirl Barista used social media to market, and her post started going viral because people were completely into this new phenomenon. She calls it the coffee bucket. And other cafes and other coffee shops around the country have now started to cash in on what was a viral craze and is now seemingly turning into a possible additional option for ordering. People are even crossing state lines to get coffee where their state may not have it. And it's just blowing up all over the place. People are commenting, saying that they traveled near and far. They traveled this distance. There are contests to see who traveled the furthest to get to this particular coffee shop. And the literal bucket of coffee may be coming to your local coffee house before you know it.
Well, this will be good for Twala because he doesn't do Starbucks. So what's the name of this place?
Well, this one is called the Cowgirl Barista Coffee Shop, but the bucket of coffee is starting to pop up in different cafes all around Southern California.
I think we should start our own coffee house. Call it the Reverse Cowgirl.
Don't do it, Steph. Don't you?
Oh, come on. That was funny. Yes, it was.
No, that was good. That was good. That was pretty good.
Well, if you like that
One show nightly.
Moving away from coffee, the next 3 stories are all going to involve people who have essentially overshared on social media. So we'll start with this one. A question was asked on social media across Threads, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, everywhere. And that question is, what's the secret that could literally ruin your life if it came out?
Oh, gosh. I got so many. There are at least 50.
Yeah.
No exaggeration. At least 50.
Here's the thing. While you might be acting in earnest and wanting to be honest about your answer, Mo, people took that question and turned it into a running joke. Here are some of the answers that have become popular across social media. So again, the question is, what's the secret that could literally ruin your life if it came out? One person said, I once returned a VHS cassette to Blockbuster without rewinding it. Another person said, 3 different people have shown me how to play spades, and I still don't know how to play. Another person said, and I'll come back to you, I too am sleeping with the CEO of Astronomer. What were you going to say, Mo?
Not a damn thing.
Another
Nothing.
person.
All I can say is those are tame.
These are tame. I have a few more.
I know Mark has more than me, but those are tame.
No, I love the astronomer jokes. That's not going to get old for a while yet.
Right, exactly. Continuing, one person said, my wife doesn't know that I'm really 3 raccoons in a trench coat. Another person said, I never paid for my Columbia House CDs.
Well,
these are deep
either
cuts.
did I, but you know. That was 1987.
You guys would definitely appreciate this. Even though I'm an orphan, I use my family's fortune to fight crime at night. You guys know that one?
Yeah.
One.
Okay, Batman.
And then I wear a green ribbon around my neck like a choker at all times because if I don't, my head will fall off. No? No one?
That's not a secret. I mean,
That sounds like a fetish.
yeah. I was actually getting turned on for a moment.
Moving along. It still haunts me what I did for that Klondike bar.
Okay, I like that one.
That's a good one.
That was
What
cute.
would you do for a Klondike bar?
And rounding out my list of my favorite responses to the question of what's the secret that could literally ruin your life if it came out. When I was a nanny, I used the rich family's curtains to make summer clothing for the children.
Those aren't secrets. I'm not going to speak for anyone else. I got a lot of stuff I'm taking to the grave with me.
As are these
lot.
people.
A lot.
Why would you even ask that
There's
question?
just some things that I appreciate getting older as the memories fade.
Yes.
I can legitimately not remember some of the stuff that I've done in my life that I'm not proud of. Some of which I am proud of. I just don't want to talk about.
They didn't want to share either, so they came up with fun alternatives in hopes that they might go viral. And a lot of these answers did. When we come back on the other side of the viral load, we're going to talk about sharenting.
Huh?
Sharenting sounds like parenting. No, this is called sharenting, and
Is it kind of like swinging?
not well. Maybe depend. In this case, it happens to deal with how oversharing on social media can actually harm children.
Oh, absolutely.
So
can't wait for that.
There's a viral story about that. And then the final viral story will be a hiker in Washington who asked to meet women to hike with in a viral Facebook post. The answers he got
Man up. Man
were
up.
very fun to share.
Will you please go hike with me? Be a man. It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Now it's time for the viral load with Tiffany. Live on KFI's Later with Mo Kelly. She'll talk about the top hits on social media. The viral load with Tiffany Hobbs.
KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. Tiffany Hobbs, take it away.
Have you ever heard of the term sharenting?
Nope.
Sharenting. Well, there's parenting, which is common, normal, pretty benign. And then there's sharenting, which is the opposite. Given social media and how influential social media is over all of our lives, it has made its way into the realm of parenting because parents are being accused validly of oversharing the minutia and other sorts of details of their children's lives.
Let me jump in there. Is that a function of them growing up in the world of social media and they just continue into their parenting lives, just sharing everything?
Yes. And there are the others who existed pre-social media as well, say north of 40, who are using social media as a digital kind of photo album or digital kind of videotape. We don't tape our moments anymore. We upload them and we share them. And that's where they seem to live in perpetuity, or until at least you change to another social media platform. But they're always there, which causes the issue of sharenting, according to psychologists, to be very dangerous when it comes to children. Here's why. Psychologists are saying that sharenting can actually shape the social media identity of kids before they even have social media. Case in point, perhaps you have a friend on your social media who shares every detail about their child as they're growing up. When the child becomes of age and wants to get involved in the world in their own way, if their image does not align with how their parent or parents have presented them for the preceding 13, 14, 15 years, because social media has now been around for 25 plus years, 20 plus years. If the images do not align, then the damage could be done to that child's identity, because we know them, we the audience know them as this way, but the child wants to carve their own identity. Psychologists are also saying that when asked, kids are saying they don't want their parents to share about them. They don't want to be posted.
I'm so glad they didn't have social media when I was a child, because my parents, especially my mother, would love to tell all my business.
Yeah.
You know, tell family. Did I tell you about what my son did?
Yeah.
All the embarrassing stuff. It's like, mommy, stop.
And the parents think it's pretty innocuous or benign because it's just sharing their child's moments. But the
No, they're
kids,
being messy.
the kids are saying, hey, my friends in some cases are using your social media, mom and dad, and getting pictures that you've posted that are embarrassing and using those pictures to then blackmail me, harass me, whatever it may be, because the content is now online. So sharenting is one of the newest terms in the world of parenting that's being discussed at a viral level. Very interesting. Our final story for the night also deals with oversharing. Pretty simple request. A person wants a partner to go hiking with, and this person happens to be 35-year-old Jeff Heatwole from Spokane, North Idaho. I said Washington, but there's another Spokane. Didn't know that.
Mark, is it Spokane or Spokane?
This is in Idaho, so tread lightly.
It's Spokane.
Is it Spokane in Washington and Spokane in Idaho?
There's no Spokane in Idaho.
This says North Idaho here. No?
I'm just coming into the middle of this. Start over, will you?
Forget where the guy is from. Doesn't really matter.
No, there's no Spokane or Spokane in Idaho.
Yeah, it says it here in the story. North Idaho.
That's insane.
Well, anywho, moving along. I may be misreading. Jeff Heatwole posed the question, can I find someone to hike with me? He said, looking for women to hike with. Smiley face. Put it on Facebook.
Predator.
Put it on Facebook in a group for hikers. And he got a myriad of responses, some pretty tame, and others who use the opportunity with the question, with the request to concoct outlandish tales of their hikes with Jeff. One person said, I was mauled by a bear up in the mountains. Jeff chased off the bear, then cradled my bloody head and whispered lullabies as I died peacefully. It was beautiful. 10 out of 10 would hike with him again if I hadn't died on that mountain. Another person said, hey, went on a hike with Jeff. He showed up in a fleece that said Safe Space Sherpa, handed out Goddess Fuel trail mix, and tried to lead a sharing circle about emotional vulnerability on the mountain. Another person said, great kisser that Jeff, let me tell you. That was from Tim Balin. So the guys were even getting involved.
This doesn't sound like Spokane to me.
No, it sure doesn't. Doesn't even sound like a dude. It's like, it just seems like a ploy to get some women interested in him.
That's what all it was. And it went completely left because people looked at the ploy and said, you know what, we'll take your ploy and we'll see you and we'll match it and we'll just completely obliterate it. Another comment by Jessica said, hey, Jeff, I'm still tied to the tree. Are you ever coming back? So the comments continued. Jeff took it all in stride. He said he originally posted the request because he was dealing with some mental health issues.
No.
Feeling lonely. Don't do that. Feeling lonely. And this was a great distraction and a pick-me-up for him. He said he did get some invitations and he has, or some acceptance, and he has gone on a few hikes with some of these women from that Facebook group. But
it's like some random guy saying, I'm lonely when I drive. Are there any
lighten
hitchhikers out there?
No, it's not.
No, this is how you end up dead.
It puts the lotion on its skin.
Yes.
Lighten up, you guys. These are just, fun little ways social media
No, it's not.
can go.
No. It's an invitation to end up dead.
Well, that person said they were dead, but it still was a 10 out of 10 experience.
But I'm saying,
You should also know that area has way more than its fair share of serial killers, and that's the truth.
Was anyone not paying attention to the news today? Who got sentenced?
Oh, Koberger.
That's right. Where was that?
Well, he wasn't a serial killer, but your point's taken.
3 or more is serial.
It was 4 all in one go.
3 or more by definition.
Okay.
Serial.
He killed people.
That's
Idaho.
Yeah,
That's all that matters, okay?
Yeah, there's a lot of that in that area, one way or the other.
That's
is
all
what
I'm saying.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed the viral load this week. A lot of fun killers
Strange
here.
folks.
A lot of fun killers
Parenting.
here.
Keep
These
your
are
secrets
fun.
to yourself. Don't
Golly.
post about your kids all the damn time. And don't ask for strangers to go hiking with you.
God.
Do you think your mom would have just aired all your
Yes.
embarrassing
No,
moments
seriously.
if that was around?
My mother, and she's probably listening right now or watching YouTube, she knows this is true. Do not tell her a secret. Do not. Because she told me, it's like, she said, I would ask her, like, why did you tell Aunt Raven that? Well, if I can't tell her, who can I tell? Well, how about nobody? Just because something happened to me at school doesn't mean you have to tell every damn body.
Everybody.
And because they would greet you with that, it's like, oh, it's so good to see you. I'm so sorry to hear about what happened at school. Well, I didn't tell you that, Aunt Raven.
And now it's online for your mom and her 5,000 friends.
But it works both ways. And she would it's one of those things, how they do you, they do other people.
Mm-hmm.
And she would gossip about everyone else in the family. Did you know that Uncle Biff is having problems with his thing and he and Aunt Raven? Yeah, it's like they've been having problems and, he just isn't able to perform anymore. True story.
Oh, God.
And I said, and I'm thinking, I'm late teens, I think, early 20s. And I said, Mommy, and I call her Mommy. It's like, Mommy, why in the hell are you telling me that? And what did she say? Well, if I can't tell you, who can I tell?
Yeah. Sharenting.
So who does she tell?
She tells everyone. Yeah, don't tell my mother anything.
Yeah, but how's
Fun
Uncle Biff's
killers.
thing?
Uncle Biff, unfortunately, has been dead for about 15 years now. So
The problem's resolved.
that's one way to look at it. Yeah.
If you're dead, what's the fun phrase that people, or the fun thing that people will call you? They'll call you a.
It's Stiffy.
There you go.
KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
Thank you.
Was that for her or for me? Because I answered
I set it up.
That's a shared one. She set it up, but you spiked it. So that's fair, right?
Now I got a half a rim shot.
It's more than you deserve. Let's move on.
Wow.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. And Tiffany Hobbs, I wanted you to stay around for one more moment because I wanted to circle back to something we were discussing earlier. Earlier in the show, we were discussing Uber and this new feature where female riders would have the option to request a female driver. Unbeknownst to me, we had a Uber female driver in studio who didn't want to tell us, but I won't bring up old stuff.
I was listening.
I won't restart that argument. But as a woman who has used Uber,
Sure.
what comes into your mind? What are some of the decisions that you're making as far as when you're going to use Uber? Does it matter whether it's a man or a woman who's your driver, so forth?
I think I use the same kind of discernment with any person who shows up to provide me that ride. I definitely make sure that they appear to be of sound mind. And it's hard to kind of glean that information so quickly because you don't have that much time to figure it all out. And you're not going to get everything from, a quick glimpse into the front seat. But I definitely pause a bit more if it's a male who pops up as a responding potential driver because of all of the stories that have circulated around social media and the news and what have you. But I'm one of those people who is always kind of ready for anything and looking for the exit route for any circumstance. So I get in the back, I pay attention to my circumstances and my surroundings. And if the person starts to make me feel uncomfortable in any way, then I'm pretty assertive. You know, you can kind of tell when
Stop the car, let me out.
I haven't gotten to that point, knock on wood, but I remember one of my earliest rides years and years ago, the guy started flirting a little bit, just a little bit, and you redirect the conversation so that it stops, you know, but those sorts of things can immediately make people feel uncomfortable. And I'm one of those people, again, who feels like they can kind of take anyone. And Mo, you might be like that too, where I feel like, you know, if it comes to me, I can handle it. I can take someone down if I need to.
That's never been me.
Well, you know, I've never had to do that. I don't seek confrontation, but I think women, by virtue of being women, are always primed for confrontation because we feel that it is a likelihood if the situation should go awry. You know, not necessarily a win every time, but if it goes awry, how can I disarm this person? I don't think that when I have a female driver. I've had female drivers, but when it's a male driver, my mind goes to, if this goes awry, if he takes a different turn, how can I get out of this situation? So there's an anxiety that just comes with it because of everything you've heard.
That's fair. And that's not an anxiety I think most men experience. In the way, talking about anxiety, when lit up by law enforcement behind my car, there's an anxiety that I will have that other people just don't have. And that has to do with experiences, that has to do with belief systems, that has to do with a number of things. But, you know, I've never been in a woman's shoes. So I can't even imagine what that anxiety would be.
It's present. It is a way in which we protect ourselves. That's what anxiety is. Being a little less comfortable so that you don't become complacent or complicit in something. But it is different riding during the daytime with friends or even by yourself versus riding at night. Night brings another element.
And to speak to your point, Tiff, I get like a little shock of anxiety if I actually do miss a turn, but I will very vocally say, my bad, I'm turning around, let me fix this right away, because I don't want them to think just like what you're thinking, that, you know, you're trying to like get into some discrepancy. Yeah. So I immediately let them know, like, oh, I didn't see the street, especially if I don't know the area. You know, it is possible.
Yeah.
So I let them know, you know, about that too. And the other thing I wanted to mention, which I don't know how you do it, but lately when I've been getting rides sometimes, usually with women, it'll say so-and-so is going to record for their safety. So I don't know how that's even done, but it's a way to protect themselves. So that's out there, just, you know, let people know.
You know, and also, Mo, what I do is if I don't use rideshare too often domestically, but if I'm out of town, that is where we depend on it, right? Exactly. I will send my information to as many people as possible to make sure that they know the car I'm in, the person, you know, all the pertinent details. More so when I'm with a male driver than when I'm with a female driver. Female driver, I might lapse a little bit. I'll still do it, but male driver, it is a non-negotiable. I have to do it.
See, I appreciate that because it's a different vantage point that most men, I would say just about all men, don't even actively consider. When you get in that car, you're not necessarily actively thinking about, am I in danger possibly? Men, I don't think are wired that way because we just kind of blithely walk through life.
And isn't that terrible? It's not that you're not wired for that, but that we are primed as women.
No, and I try to remind myself that not to invalidate other people's concerns and fears, because I hate when people do it to mine. I really do. It's like, well, and I use the law enforcement comparison because our experiences are real. Our fears may be sometimes unfounded, but what we have experienced can't be debated in the sense of you can't be discounted. I think that's the better word. And I try to be consistent in that regard. You know, just because I haven't experienced something, it does not mean that it's invalid or it does not exist.
That's why so many women choose the bear.
Great point. It's later with Mo Kelly. When we come back, I have a letter to read from a listener specifically directed at Mark Ronner for something that he said earlier tonight. And it comes from listener Peter Schuster. So hopefully, Peter, you're still listening. I got your Instagram message, and I'm going to read it unedited on air. And it takes Mark Ronner to task, and then Mark will be able to respond to end the show. That's coming up next.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And I'm going to close out tonight with a letter from a listener. It's really long, so I can't read all of it, but it's addressed specifically to comments that Mark Ronner made earlier in the show regarding Jeff Bezos and Amazon. Mark was very, very passionate in his dislike. So this comes from listener Peter Schuster. It lists his first and last name. Don't know where he's from, but he was kind enough to send it to me, so I'm going to read it on air. It says, please don't keep letting Mark spread disinformation. Here are the facts on Jeff Bezos' charity efforts. Jeff Bezos is actively involved in philanthropy through various initiatives, including the Bezos Earth Fund and the Bezos Day One Fund. The Bezos Earth Fund, established with a $10 billion commitment, focuses on fighting climate change and protecting nature, according to the Bezos Earth Fund website. And the website would never lie. The Bezos Day One Fund, co-founded by Bezos and his then wife, Mackenzie Scott, addresses homelessness and education with a focus on creating and supporting tuition-free preschools in underserved communities. The Bezos Earth Fund, established with a $10 billion commitment, aims to fight climate change and protect nature and disperses funds by 2030. And it goes on and lists all these things that the Amazon community investments include donations of goods and cash to support local communities with basic needs like food, shelter, and goods for children and families, according to About Amazon. So basically, he's copying and pasting from the various websites. But his point is Jeff Bezos and Amazon are not as evil, if I can paraphrase, as you make them out to be, Mark Ronner.
Listen. If you can afford your own rocket ship for joyrides, you can do more for your neighbors and your employees who have to use pee bottles because you don't let them take breaks. The main argument that I was trying to make, because I brought up the example of Andrew Carnegie, who was the Jeff Bezos of his time. He gave us libraries all across the country, and I bet he only had a fraction of what Bezos has. And Musk. Let's add Elon Musk into this as well. What kind of a person could be so rich that you couldn't spend all your money in 10 lifetimes, but you still got to step over homeless people to get to your office? This is about basic human decency, and our sense of public good has diminished so far it's almost extinct. So make that argument to somebody else who will buy it.
I'm going to actually agree with you on that point, Mark, because I don't feel the need to defend billionaires for this reason. Billionaires have enough money to let their work speak for itself. I don't need to speak for them. And the fullness of Elon Musk's record and the fullness of Jeff Bezos' records will speak for them. And given what Peter listed in the email, I'm more inclined to believe what Mark is saying. Not that Jeff Bezos doesn't do good with his money, but is it commiserate with his resources? Is it comparable and consistent with his largesse? We're talking about the amount of money he has. It's almost like you want to put it in terms of tithing. It's like, I'm not saying that he doesn't, contribute to church. I'm saying, but given how well or how much he's blessed, is it consistent with that? And I think that's a fair question. And Mark makes the argument, and let him speak for himself. But I get the sense he's making the argument. It's like, dude, you could be doing so much more.
Well, just imagine if you or I had that kind of money and we saw people who needed help. We wouldn't turn a blind eye to them ever.
I know for a fact, and there's no doubt in my mind, if I had the money of Elon Musk, and since I'm not wired like Elon Musk, I will never have the money like Elon Musk. But if I did, for some reason, I would change the world. $44 billion would never go to a freaking social media site purchase.
Exactly. And this isn't even a right or left thing. It's actually quite a Christian thing.
It actually is. But you have to make the distinction. And I say this as a Christian. Christianity in the United States is more a statement of your politics than your beliefs and how you live. When I see Christian on someone's social media profile, I know that they're telling me about their politics. not who they serve. And it's a huge difference.
Well, and that's the exact opposite of what Christ told people. He told people to go pray in a closet. Don't do it in public like
That's
the
right.
hypocrites. Now, I'm not the most religious person in the world, but I do think that if more people who claim to be Christians acted like him, the world would be a far better place. And a lot of them don't.
You notice, if you follow me, Mark, in my arguments with people, I often get into these arguments where they want to say that this is a Christian nation. It's like, no, there's no mention of Jesus Christ. Christian, there's no mention of Jesus Christ. And
Our founding fathers explicitly intended for the United States not to be a Christian nation or a theocracy of any kind.
we were kind of running from that.
Yeah.
If I got my history correct, not only were we running from that, there is no explicit mention of Jesus Christ or God per se in a Christian sense, a Christian God, in either the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution. But it is now being used as a political cudgel to say, this is how I vote, or these are the individuals who I don't like. It's a political statement, not an actually one of religious beliefs and how you live. That's why I don't put it on my social media profile. If you want to have that conversation with me, we will have that conversation, and I will go scripture for scripture with you. A lot of people don't know that, but I can go scripture for scripture, and we can have some real strong conversations in an exegesis sense. In other words, how we interpret the Bible in today's world. But usually most people don't do that. They just say it's a Christian nation. What the hell are you talking about?
No,
and I mean that. What the hell are you talking about?
You're exactly right. It absolutely is not. And in fact, our founding fathers explicitly intended for it not to be a Christian nation, as much to protect religion as anything else.
Right. And much of what we believe to be true is a bastardization and more a reflection of what we wish was true. The whole idea of having the 10 Commandments and bringing prayer back into schools. Prayer never left schools. You just can't mandate it. No one stopped me from praying in school. No one stopped me from praying before I do my job every single night. Every single night before I start my show, I say, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. I don't necessarily need to broadcast to everyone else that I say that, no pun intended, but that's where I'm coming from.
All right, well, that's impressive, but can you do the Samuel Jackson speech from Pulp Fiction
What is
about
it?
the path of the righteous
Ezekiel
man?
25:47, I think it is. And I'll strike down. Never mind. Time to go before I blaspheme. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We'll see you tomorrow. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.